Velina Mai Kako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by welcoming you all to 2024. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and a beautiful New Year. I just wanted to hop on here for a couple minutes, just talk stories, and provide you all with some updates to what's going to happen in 2024, some big plans that we have going on. And I guess I'll start by announcing the biggest thing that's happening in February 18th, which is a live audience podcast at Blue Note, Hawaii. So if you're on Oahu, make sure you come and check it out. If you're living outside of Hawaii or on other islands, come on down on February 18th. It's going to be an amazing time. We have McKenna Maduli, who is a past podcast guest. She's the queen of talk story. She's going to be our guest for that episode. And I have a bunch of other surprise guests, which I can't say who it's going to be. But trust me, people are going to be so stoked when they see this person. We're going to have giveaways, raffles. And I'm still in the process of planning a little bit more. But it's going to be amazing. So you can head to bluenotehawaii.com. Or just go to the Instagram. The link is in their bio, and you can buy tickets. The tickets are $25 for general seating and $35 for premium seating. So come by. You can meet us. You can ask live questions. We're going to take questions live from the audience right at Blue Note. If you haven't been there, it's a great venue. They have a lot of amazing concerts. And it's a really historical venue, and I'm just so blessed that I get this opportunity to go on stage at such a historic place. 2023 was a huge year for us. I've gotten so many cool opportunities through this podcast, and just for me personally, with being on the TV show. If you're listening to this right now, my TV show that I was on called We Are Family, it premieres January 3rd. So I think this comes out the day after. So it's on Fox. It's a celebrity guessing game. I'm a contestant, one out of 100 contestants trying to win money and guess which celebrity is in this big sphere thing. And how you do it is they show you clues on top of this big sphere, and one of the celebrity's non-famous relative is in front of it trying to sing, and you're trying to guess the clues and figure out who the celebrity is. So it's a really fun show. I can't say how I did, but go ahead and watch it. That's super exciting. I also want to announce that in December, we launched our nonprofit called Ho'aina. We got 1 acre of land in Kailua here on Oahu, and we're planning to grow food and educate people, trying to bridge the gap between modern and traditional farming practices. Our 4 pillars for Ho'aina is preservation, restoration, education, and sustainability. So we have a lot of plans to cultivate the land and grow stuff, teach people stuff, make it a community place where people can come and learn and hopefully become more sustainable in their own lives. So I'm excited for that journey. There's so much going on. So the podcast isn't my only thing, but in 2024, my plan is to go in this full time. I just finished my job as a Peace Corps recruiter part-time at UH. So now I have a little bit more free time to do that. I'm going to pour all of my energy and time into the podcast. We want to start going to other islands and start traveling a little bit more. So by the time this comes out, hopefully I've already locked in a bunch of sponsors for 2024. But if anybody's interested in sponsoring the podcast, let us know. Our email is keepitallohapod@gmail.com. And then with my other business, Hawaiiverse, you're probably thinking, like, how many things is this guy involved in? We have this game called Mocabs that we also released in December. We played it on the episode with KK Lingard. It's a play on mad gabs. So you have to read the gibberish like cone hawk off he, cone hawk off he, and you keep saying it, cone hawk coffee, cone hawk coffee, and it says Kona coffee. So it's all local phrases that people can play and have a good time with their friends and family. I'll leave it right here. Oh, that doesn't stand. Okay, I'm gonna put it down. So you guys can go do that. We also have Keep It Aloha merch. I have my hoodie over here. It's been so cold in Hawaii. So if you want to stay warm, go to keepitaloha.com, buy some KIA merch. we have this shirt right over here. It's a collaboration tee that I did with my friend Chris Miyashiro. He's a great local artist. We got a podcast mic in the front, and it's kind of like this little wave and boat over here. And then in the back, it says Keep It Aloha. So this shirt is $35 on the Keep It Aloha website. And, if you DM us, maybe you tell me, hey, Kamaka, I listened to your 2024 update episode. And if you go DM us on Instagram, I'll give you a little promo code for some percentage off. So I think that'll be pretty cool, and it'll show me who's actually listening to these episodes. When we did that one episode, I think it was episode 100, and Jordan and I, we were saying, hey, whoever is listening up to this point, it was like two hours in. If you're still watching, screenshot this and send it to us on Instagram, and a bunch of you did. That was so cool. So I'm sure the same people who did that are probably listening to this point, and you guys are so awesome. We also have my other Keep It Aloha merch. This is a popular shirt right over here. It's a tan one. And then we have this one in a retro design as well. And of course, the regular Keep It Aloha black original shirt that's like this hoodie design. Oh, and we also got hats. I forgot. There's so much going on. Hopefully I can get an assistant soon because I need help. But one thing I want to talk about too is how we get guests, because I think that's something people are always asking me about. How do I decide on guests, and how do I schedule it? I do everything. It's just Jordan and I working on this podcast, and we have our boy Oz, who just recently came on. He's in the back right over here. So it's a small crew, and we're doing the best we can with what the resources we have. What was I just talking about? I was just saying about, how do we choose guests? Because everybody's always messaging me and saying, or suggesting people like, hey, you should get this person on, or I should be on your podcast. And basically what I'm saying is stop doing that. I appreciate suggestions, but I have such a long list of people already. So unless it's like Jason Momoa or Max Holloway, I'm not really going to stick people in front of the others. And you got to think about it. We have 52 weeks in a year. And so that means only 52 guests, maybe 51 or 50, because I think this episode is going to take 1 week of the year. So, we only have like 50 guests in a year, and I have a list of over 100 people. So it's really hard to, try to listen to new suggestions and try to fit that into our schedule already. But, suggestions are always okay, but I don't really like when people ask to be on the podcast. I like to make it like an invite only thing. Unless again you're Jason Momoa or Max Holloway or someone like that, like Nicole Scherzinger or Bruno Mars, any local, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Did you guys know that Dwayne The Rock Johnson follows this podcast, by the way? I figured that out one time when I was in Georgia filming that TV show. We were at a bar just cruising with people, and then this guy Carlos, this older guy, he tells me to follow my podcast on his Instagram, and then I go to follow it, and then it says, I look up Keep It Aloha Pod, and it says Dwayne The Rock Johnson follows. And I was so confused, so I went to my phone, I looked up my followers, and I went to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and on his profile it said follow back. So I was like, what the heck? When did Dwayne The Rock Johnson start following this podcast? So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool highlight of 2023. And of course I followed him back, because on the Instagram on Keep It Aloha Pod, we only follow people who work with the podcast or are aligned with the podcast, but you can't not follow Dwayne The Rock Johnson back. So he's probably the only person not really affiliated with this podcast that we follow. So I think those are the main updates. 2023, we had some amazing guests. 2024, we're just going to keep upping it, try to get really good people, create good conversations. A big goal of mine is start taking this west. I always say that. Go west and try to get connected with more of the other Pacific Island cultures and more of Polynesia, take Hawaiian culture to those parts of the world, maybe even Asia, and try to connect us all through culture. So I think that's the biggest thing. And I know a lot of people listen to this podcast because they think it's like a Hawaiian podcast, a cultural podcast. But honestly, I just like talking to people about their lives and hearing their stories. So I think a good comparison to what this podcast is, if you were to compare it to Joe Rogan's podcast, like the Joe Rogan of Hawaii, all those Hawaiian episodes where we dive really deep into the culture, that would be like how Joe Rogan has the MMA episodes where he has fighters on and he talks about, UFC and stuff like that. So that would be like the Hawaiian stuff for us, and everything else is just random people. They could be a model, they could be a surfer, they could be an entrepreneur. They don't necessarily have to be like a Hawaiian activist or some practitioner. So I think people might get confused about our podcast, maybe because they only see certain clips and they associate us with just being a Hawaiian podcast. Because like I said on many episodes, I'm interested in all the cultures, not just Hawaiian culture. Hawaiian culture is the more prominent one because we live in Hawaii and I'm Hawaiian, but I'm curious about, other people, and like seeing Aloha. Aloha exists everywhere else in the world. They just call it something else, Here we call it Aloha. In the South, they call it Southern hospitality. In places around the world, they have a certain word that, they use for Aloha, or they live with Aloha, or they show Aloha. So yeah, I think of course, this is a very Hawaii centric podcast, but I just also want to remind people that there's a whole world out there, and I've been blessed with opportunities to travel and live abroad, and I don't see the world like most people because I have that experience, and I just know there's so much out there, and I hope people listening to this can travel and broaden their horizons and get more perspective from all different cultures and ethnicities and nationalities. Just I guess my one goal for everybody going into 2024 would be to surround yourself with people who are different than you, who are from different places, speak a different language, come from a different background. Because the more you talk with others, the more you understand others, I believe the more you understand yourself. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is talking with others, hearing their perspective, hearing their stories, trying to relate to that and share that with the audience. And by doing that, it helps me understand myself better. So I think that's a goal that I would encourage people to try to do and carry into 2024. I'm not really a big resolution person, but I do like to think of goals and things I want to accomplish in 2024. And, that's traveling a little bit more, getting more help on the podcast so I could focus on other things, and, slowing down and continue on my mission of peace. That's the ultimate goal. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for everybody. We have a ChatGPT episode that is also released, so if you want to go check that out, it's just me asking ChatGPT some burning questions about what it's like to be Hawaiian. That's a pretty fun one. We recorded it a while ago, and I've been saving it for a good moment to share. And we don't have any new podcasts recorded. I'm actually in Hilo right now. Well, as you're listening to this, spending time with my family. I always go back to Hilo during Christmas and New Year's. So we tried to schedule some podcasts before that, so we'd be good going into the New Year's. But I'm still in negotiations with sponsors, and everybody's busy during the holidays, so we couldn't get certain guests here in time to get you an episode. So you got me. So hopefully you're not too bored, but we got many episodes coming to you every single Thursday. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Share this with your friends. Check out keepitaloha.com. Remember, check out the Blue Note live show on February 18th. I hope to see you guys there. It's going to be so amazing. I've been hoping for this for a long time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like how I said, be kind to one another, spread aloha. We have new episodes every Thursday, like I said. And as my great role model, David Goggins, says, stay hard.